message for my people.
Nick Dad, baby. We the new label.
Yeah.
Come on.
Yeah.
Come on, son.
Now this the black sheep sticking it to him. I need a crib like I'm Gatsby.
I need it.
In hand, just understand my
Pockets that deep.
with nothing to prove. I ain't got nothing to do, and they can't compete, and I got nothing to lose.
Yes. What's good, everybody? Welcome back to Veterans Minimum, the number one sports betting podcast on the planet. The number one sports betting podcast on the planet.
Yes.
The number one everything. Before we get started, George, I got a surprise for you.
You got a surprise for me?
Yep.
Can I surprise you and the listeners?
Sure.
Listeners, if you don't know, if you're listening to this right now, go wish Nick a happy birthday.
Let's go.
That's my surprise to you and the listeners. So make sure you guys go do that. Tag him in an Instagram story. Let's get it filled up. I want Nick's Instagram story to look like one of those Instagram stories that'll take a while to get through. Small dots at the top.
And if anyone knows anything about me, I love attention. So I've been getting happy birthday wishes since Friday. And the people that I'm really close with, I'm like, yo, by the way, I appreciate it. My birthday's on Tuesday, so make sure you tell me on Tuesday also.
Correct.
Today,
Double
if
it
you're
up.
watching the pod. I appreciate that, man. Thank you. My Shaquille O'Neal on the Lakers year, 34,
The diesel.
the diesel. I got an email
Whoa.
from a podcast. I'm trying to find it right now. Dude, I have like 25 fucking emails
Yeah, is it through Gmail?
through Gmail.
Yeah, I've been going through a situation with Rachel, my client, for these past like 2 weeks. We moved from Outlook to Gmail. It's fucked everything up, Nick. It's just so complicated. Like emails shouldn't be this complicated. But did you find it?
Yeah, I did.
Okay.
According to FeedSpot, you ever heard of FeedSpot?
I feel like I've seen it.
They're a podcast blog. They have a bunch of different podcasts that they have under their umbrella. Veterans Minimum is number 9 on the betting shows.
Oh shit! Let's go. We're not revising that.
No,
we're not revising
we're
because
fucking
that's
leaving
the
that
fucking
one.
truth.
That's the truth.
That's the truth.
Yeah,
Thank you, FeedSpot. That's the truth.
yeah. Because we're a vibe. The show's a vibe.
Let's go.
But that's a lot of it has to do with you listeners, yo. Thank you so much. I know it gets repetitive and I know it sounds corny. It's a conversation I always have with Cameron. I'm like, yo, look, this sucks to do, but it's important. Rate, review, subscribe, comment, share, tables, ladders, and chairs. Oh my, all that stuff. We have an amazing social media manager, George Carmona, who's going to make sure all of that gets reshared.
100%.
But it goes a long way. It is the best cosign for the show. And according to FeedSpot, we're a top 40 betting podcast, and we come in at number 9. Top 10 is good. We do want number 1.
Facts.
But year over year for me, it's ascending. And that's all I could ask for.
100%.
So we're here. We got a lot
That's
of...
good. That was a great surprise. It's
Yeah.
birthday. We're feeling great.
Feeling good, man. It was a really fun weekend.
Yep.
I had my boys in town from New York. Shouts to Josh, Finney, Boss, who used to come on the show. My buddy Chris, and then we went out to Barry's. George would have been there, but he fell asleep and he missed the dinner.
Facts. That did happen. Phone fell off the charger, and I fucking woke up in the midst of dinner. Had I known that you guys would be at dinner for 3 fucking hours, which, by the way, congratulations. That's maximizing a birthday dinner, and I feel like you guys are probably treated like royalty, right?
Oh, dude,
You
shout
don't
out.
stay at a restaurant that
Yeah.
long unless you're like getting fucking pampered.
Yeah, it was funny. Shout out to Yassine and Barry's, always blessing us. My favorite restaurant in Vegas, and we went over there. There was 11 of us. It was like my crew from New York. Got to meet my boys here in Vegas, and it was basically like a Comedy Central roast. I was getting flames for like 2 hours, which reminded me of back home, and I was like, "This is awesome." It was great. Everyone got along. We got a bunch of drinks, a bunch of food, and then when the bill came, we looked at the bill, and all my friends were like, this is like wrong because it was way less than we thought it was gonna be.
No shit.
So Yassine fucking blessed it, man. It was so cool. A lot of the guys in Vegas, it was their first time at the restaurant, and they all became fans of Barry's after. So it was really fun, man. I got hammered. I was drinking old fashions. I was drinking beers. I got a dirty martini from this girl at the bar. Fucking had a bottle of red wine.
Hot take.
I was fucking white girl wasted, bro. I was hammered, dude.
Old fashions suck.
Okay. Listen, I'm not like that's my number one pick. It was more so like 3 of the guys got it, and I hadn't looked at the drink menu.
Right.
It's like when I go to bars and I get stuck on what to order for food, my go-to quesadilla.
That's a good.
It's hard to
that's
fuck
a good
up.
cop out.
It's hard to fuck up a quesadilla.
Yep.
Really simple. They're almost always good everywhere you go.
True.
And for me, it was like, yo, what are you drinking? Old fashioned? I was like, fuck it, let's make it 5, right? Because 4 of them got it. So very simple. I'm usually just Corona. That's my drink. Just have
That's
a
a
Corona.
good go-to.
It's my go-to.
Lime. When you put the lime in it, do you go thumb at the top so that the lime goes all the way up? Get you that limey juice.
Nah, because one time,
throughout
the
it all?
first time I ever did it, I like shook the whole thing. So then when I lifted my,
It went.
yeah, fucked my whole
You have
fit
a
up. I was
great
tight.
seal. I have huge thumbs, so I got it's easy.
Yeah.
I get you.
I didn't do that. But old fashions, like I said, not my number one pick. But white people like to almost drink everything. Yo, I'm down for everything, bro. I just don't like Jack Daniels. It's the only drink I don't like drinking.
That's crazy.
Yeah, Jack. When I was in college up in Buffalo, shouts to the Bengals, Buffalo State
It was
Bengals.
a bad experience.
Dude, I took one shot, like my first drink of the night. Had not drank, had a nice meal, so I wasn't on an empty stomach. I took one shot of Jack Daniels and it fucked my whole stomach up. My whole night was ruined. I couldn't drink anything after. So I have PTSD from that. I like Captain Morgan, so that's the one I pivot off to.
Yeah. No, I'll drink whatever except for like Everclear's like terrible. There's some vodkas that just taste like nail polish. It's raw. It's bad. By the way, I don't know how much you used to talk about alcohol on the show. Back-to-back shows where we're talking about alcohol. Dave Ross with the tequila shots. I don't know. Are we becoming part-time alcohol podcast?
I don't know. A sponsor would be nice. Everything I just said about Jack Daniels, if you want to throw us some money, I'll be fucking slamming Jack on the show whole day, every day. Yeah, look, I like to drink. It's probably my biggest vice, that and betting. I've never done any drugs of any kind. I've never smoked weed. It's always a surprise to people when they hear that. But for me, I like to booze.
Yeah.
And when it's an occasion also. And then after dinner, we went over to a nightclub.
Yes. Explain that scene.
I'm going to leave the name of the place out because I got a lot of friends there and I know someone that runs it. And, I don't want to do that. But we went out after. And George, I think the jersey is being retired from Nightlife.
Wow. Are you sure? I'll be your coach. Are we sure we want to retire? Nick, I think you got a lot more better years ahead of you.
I'm still in my prime. Second prime like Tom Brady.
I just think you need a year to reflect. Call it a COVID year. Maybe go to China and study with the monks.
I got to go to Germany to get the stem cells that Kobe came back with and then started just going fucking ballistic on everyone.
Right. You need some of those.
He was injured and he went over to Germany, came back. They're like, what the fuck happened? What they shoot up in him? I did not have a good time. The place was pretty empty. And how do you feel about nightclubs? Let me ask you that before I start.
So just like it shocks people when you say you haven't smoked weed, I've never been to a big Las Vegas nightclub. I've always kicked it at the downtown clubs. I have been to clubs in foreign countries. So I'll say this, the club scene in Thailand was insane. The energy level I feel would match something like how Vegas is, except I think foreigners do go harder. I'll say that because Americans, they probably at the club, you probably saw a lot of people that were I don't know, not mixing and mingling with people out there, bro. Everybody is a side quest around you, So how do I feel about clubs? I like them, but everybody's got to be turned to it. I can't go to a club and not feel that energy, if it's weak, you got to bounce.
Yo, Jory and Isaiah, thumbs up or thumbs down about nightclubs? Jory, double thumbs down.
Double thumbs down.
Isaiah gave us like a middle leaning towards down.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yo, you know what's crazy, bro? I never was like really into them. I used to promote when I was like fresh out of college and in like my early 20s. And it was more so to just like make money, or I would party for free.
Yeah.
But a lot of times, like I'd make like $250, $300 a Saturday. And now I was making $400 a week working with my dad. So for me to show up for a couple hours and make $300, I'm like, oh, fuck yeah, I'll do it. But I was going out every weekend from like 22 to 24. And it was dope because I was making money for it. But even then, a lot of times it was like, oh, you know, you set someone up with a table, you go over there, you say hi, you know, you have a drink or whatever. And that's one of the reasons why I got so heavy too, because I was getting hammered.
Yeah.
And I'd go to eat. And that's when I ballooned up to like almost 250 pounds. 246.8 is the most I ever weighed in my life. Crazy. I looked round, just no shape.
Yeah.
Just round as shit. Snorlax build. You know, like that. It was,
that's
nasty.
A great adjective.
Yeah, it was nasty. So for me, I never was a fan of it. I think moving forward, I'm only doing pool parties. Because another reason why with the pool parties,
Yep. Hit me with it.
you can't really stun on someone at a pool party.
Very true.
In the end of the day, bro, you're in your swim trunks.
Very true.
If your swim trunks are more than $100, you're weird.
Agreed.
Like, why do you got swim trunks that are over $100, right? Nike swim trunks, $12 from the outlet. Maybe I got a polo,
right.
right? Platted polo from the outlet, $45. Anything more than that, you're reaching, bro. Because no one's ever like, dude, dope swim trunks.
Correct.
That's also weird, right? So for me, you don't have on a 3-piece suit. You don't really have, maybe you'll have your jewelry on, but like, you don't have your fucking AP or your Rolex on in the pool party at Vegas. That's also kind of weird too. So like, you can't really stun on someone. Maybe you have a cabana by the pool party, but last year when I like started making like good money, I was like, yo, I'm gonna go to a pool party every weekend. I'm gonna go to a bunch of pool. I went to one. It was my friend's birthday, Corey, who came out over the weekend. And like, that was it. That was fucking dope. But like, bro, as far as the nightlife, I think it's
GG's.
Jersey to the rafters, no tears in the eyes.
Wow.
Yeah.
I mean, first ballot career, spent time in the service, and
I put my years in.
You put your years in, and I mean, I just hope that the Hall of Fame committee really looks at you and your resume and what you've built up till now. I still do think your best years are ahead of you, so I think this is a halfway retirement, but you know, I'll invite you out next week and we'll see what we do. Because I've never been, bro. Like, I want to give it a shot. I see all these videos of all these clubs, but I mean, at the same time, yeah, no. The music is also kind of trash. I'd just rather go to a festival.
Yeah, I mean, that played into it too, right? Like, I was talking last night actually with Jory. I don't know if I had told him about the whole club details, but like they were playing EDM music, which I guess like if you go out to a club, that's kind of what you want to hear. I don't want to hear dreams and nightmares. That makes me want to fight.
I know, but you kind of do though. You want somebody who fucking mixes that in.
When they play that at a nightclub, bro,
yeah,
that's the weirdest and lamest shit to me. Like, it's not a song that you like.
I get it.
You can't dance with someone to that.
I'm not saying you have to run that whole fucking thing, but what I'm saying is you can play that tastefully and get the club jumping.
That's a good point. That's a good point.
If you're a good DJ, you can make it work.
Yeah. Dude, whoever the DJ at fucking Barry's was, they were playing the hits, early 2000s R&B and hip hop. They were playing fucking banger after banger after banger. We were like, yo, I hope they're DJing at the nightclub. That would be nice. Let us know in the comments how you guys feel about nightlife. And yeah, everyone's like, yo, bro, now you're like in your 30s and it's kind of weird when you go. That wasn't even the issue for me. For me, it was just like I never was really a fan of it. I only did it because I was making money off it. Like, legit, the only reason why I was doing it. But yeah, I'd rather just do a pool party in the summer. It's a cool vibe. You're back home by 6.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? It's nice.
No, I feel you. I feel you.
It's nice. All right. We have a lot of NFL to discuss. If you guys know anything about me, I will pat myself on the back because I said Devontae Adams should be an LA Ram, and he signs with the LA Rams. 2-year deal. He is going to be playing with Matthew Stafford, Puka Nakua, Sean McVay, Tutu Atwell that re-signed with them, Williams in the backfield. I love the move. I just posted the clip on my Instagram when I said he needs to go to a team where he's not going to be the number 1 wide receiver. He'll be the number 2 option. He's going to take the Cooper Kupp targets. He's going to take the Cooper Kupp role, which he does a lot of his best work out of the slot.
Yeah.
And he's a phenomenal route runner. Might be the best in the league still. He never was. We talked about it on the Thursday show. He was a 4.56 guy. He wasn't a 4.22 40.
Mm-hmm.
So his career was going to be, the longevity of it was going to be like how it is now. You know, like what happens when Tyreek Hill is no longer the burner that he is. I think there's going to be some drop off. You see that happen a lot with like Deshaun Jackson. When he didn't have that breakaway speed anymore, he was out the
Game
league.
changed.
Mind you, he played a decade.
Yeah.
But still, like the impact of a guy like that, it's kind of limited. So him going over there, I think it does. I think it's an upgrade. I think it's an upgrade because of what Cooper Kupp is now with the injuries and, you know, a lot of wear and tear. Look, Devontae hasn't had no crazy injury. Kupp has torn an ACL. Kupp has had shoulder problems, back problems, hamstring problems. And he's been a big reason for the Rams' success over the last couple of years and a big reason for the Puka Nakua success as well. And the second win that Matthew Stafford got in his career. I love the move. I think it's an absolute home run. We have a lot of moves that we're going to discuss. But for me, bro, I'm ignoring the Jet tenure because I think a lot of that had to do with the Aaron Rodgers pairing.
Yeah.
Which we also discussed. So if you guys haven't checked that out, go and check that last episode because I'm skipping out a lot of things that I don't want to say again and be repetitive. But how do you feel about Adams going to the Rams?
I mean, it's money. It's exactly what Matt Stafford needs in his later years is somebody who's just fucking automatic on key downs. I liked the Rams at the end of last year, and I'm going to continue to like the Rams. They're my surprise team to win the Super Bowl next year. I think that defense is young. Yeah, he's a novelty piece. And when you look at it, Devontae's 32, Cooper Kupp's 31. But like you said, the wear and tear does, you know, play a huge factor. When I thought about it, though, as I was thinking it, that exact statement, Cooper Kupp is still legit. And I think any team that ends up with Cooper Kupp this upcoming season is going to see extreme production. To do what he did that year that, you know, that won you the Grinch Kobe's, it takes a special talent. And call me crazy, but I think they're comparable. When you look at their careers and what they're going to be remembered as, two obvious legends of the game. But I mean, what Cooper Kupp did in the snow, that one catch that he made on that final drive before the Rams season ended, I mean, only Cooper Kupp makes that catch. Like he's the most for sure hands that you're going to get at that position. I said what I said. So with Devontae stepping in, I mean, this is perfect. I don't think we need to discuss it any further. He got the bag too. I mean, for just 2 years, it's a great place to end your career on the beach. I think he's from California, if I'm not mistaken. So it's a perfect recipe.
Yeah, you know what's funny though? It's this is prime NFL, and this is like prime when someone likes you, they'll deal with your shit, and when they don't, they want to get rid of you. Rams to Cooper Kupp. This is from Cam De Silva on Twitter. Rams to Cooper Kupp. We don't want to pay a 32-year-old wide receiver $30 million. Rams to Devontae Adams. Welcome aboard.
Yeah.
And it's like, listen, man, when people say they don't want to spend that kind of money, they don't want to spend it on you.
Mm-hmm.
Right? Like, I have no problem. Like, let's talk about like relationships real quick, right? I had an incident over the weekend. I was talking to this girl. We were out at a bar. She was telling me about like all the lavish shit. She's being flown out and all that. I was like, yo, that's cool, but you're not going to get that out of me. Not like initially. I was like, I'm not a sucker. I was like, you deal with mad fuckboys and losers. That's why this happens. And they got no game. They grew up with no game. So for them, they need to flex with their money. That's why they all get sabotaged, and that's why they all get tricked out of their spot. I was like, I've had game my whole life. She just looked at me like, I was like, yeah, I'm not. I was like, I'll do that for you eventually, but not off the rip. Like, that's crazy. I was like, you could find someone else that could do that for you, but not me. Not this guy. You picked the wrong one.
Yeah.
And
Getting flown out's wild.
with this, yeah, getting flown out as well, which, by the way, this weekend, I didn't spend no money, dude. I was treated like an Instagram thought, and it was fucking dope. Ladies, I understand. If I could do this every weekend, I would. So I'm not going to knock you for doing it. I'm just not going to do it for you is what I'm saying.
Correct.
And when you look at the Rams, it's kind of what they're saying with Devontae and Cooper Kupp. Yo, Cooper, your best days are behind you.
Yeah.
You're like a 32-year-old bottle girl.
Yeah.
Your best days are behind you. But this bottle girl's 32. She still got it. She still got it. And that's why they gave him $30 million. I thought that was an amazing rant. Dom, you're definitely clipping this.
Yeah. Yeah. That'll be a good one.
That'll be a good one, man. That'll be a good one. And that's what I think happened over here, bro.
Instagram thought
Yeah.
comparison. I love it. Josh Allen's new deal. You a fan?
I'm a fan.
Lock it in, yeah? If it's real, lock it in?
Yeah, put a ring on it, man. He's had a great last year.
Mm-hmm.
Right? I know it didn't end well for Buffalo, but he signs a extension, $250 million guaranteed, up to $330 million over the next 6 years. Got engaged. Great girl. Carried Buffalo. The became sort of the America's team, especially when they were going up against the Chiefs. It's like, dude, we want Buffalo to fucking get it in and finally, knock out the Taylor Swift and the Travis Kelce and Pat Mahomes era in Kansas City. I really, really like Buffalo right now heading into next year. I know we still have the draft. We still have free agency. Technically starts today as you guys are watching or listening to the show. They got rid of Von Miller, freed up some money. They kept the guy that they drafted, Rousseau. They extended him. And I think Buffalo is the team right now out the AFC that I think is
most
the one I'm
ready.
leaning towards. Yeah. And I know I don't want to get too sidetracked with Josh Allen. Look, bro, you found your quarterback. He just reminds me of what someone from Buffalo wants and needs at QB. He's become so captivating to the fan base. He is Bills Mafia. And I hope this dude one day wins a Super Bowl for real. I love Buffalo. I spent a lot of time up there. And hopefully when they do win the Super Bowl, we're not betting against them. So like next year would be nice because we're going to have a lot of props on the Buffalo Bills. But I love this move. I think it's a no-brainer. And he's kind of been paid cheaply until now. So I think he's getting his money back coming off the best year of his career.
I do want just to remind you, you told me to remind you 2 months ago, just remember who's in Kansas City before putting in any futures, not to let you fall into the same trap again. I did just want to throw that in there. I was looking to see what Mahomes' contract pays out till, and I think he's 2031. No, 2032. So it's like right around like the same timetable before they're like, you just can't get the job done. So we'll see. We'll see if that ends up being the tail of the tape there, the case. I'm glad they did that. There's another. Oh, go ahead.
Real quick. The Mahomes contract was one of its kind. He signed for 10 years.
Yes.
When he did. And to this day, it's still the highest valued contract of all time. Now, on a per year basis, there's been more guys, but 10 for $450 million, which was what the deal was, that is still the number one contract in NFL history.
Yeah. And loaded up at the back end.
Yeah.
Wow. Yeah. But the money at that point in time will definitely They'll restructure it.
For sure. Yeah, it's
Drop
not going to be that forever, but yeah, I agree with you. But continue. I'm sorry to cut you off.
No, I was going to hit you with the next major, like, money talks type of situation with Myles Garrett staying with the Browns. He did say he wants to go to a contender. Are the Browns that contender? How did you feel about that signing or that extension?
Most overrated player in the NFL.
You're crazy, dude. Stop.
Most overrated player in the NFL. I've felt this way for a long time. I think he completely lost me in that playoff game against the Texans, where he was an absolute no-show, non-factor. It was the year he was Defensive Player of the Year. If you look at all his numbers, it's top 5 in almost everything. But I think a lot of it is empty stats too. I think a lot of it is he's, first in sacks since 2021. He's second tackles for loss, tied for second in QB hits, fourth in QB pressures. Maybe empty stats is not the right term because it's not like the Browns are winning by such a big margin, so
Correct.
He's still getting these numbers. But for how we perceive him and where he's ranked, and now he's the highest paid non-quarterback in NFL history, money talks, right? So you just told us that, like, you don't want to win a ring. You rather just get your number retired and they build a statue for you, which is cool too.
Right.
Yo, not everyone wants to win championships. They might say it and it's a play to like leverage and get a contract out of it, which is basically what happened here. But he demanded a trade.
Yeah.
He wanted to win a ring. And then they're like, hey, would $40 million a year help? I don't care about a ring. And if you do win one in Cleveland, legend, icon, build him the statue, rename the parking lot to the Myles Garrett parking lot or any of that shit. But for me, I just don't, he just never did it for me, man. I think that he's not even the best pass rusher in his division.
He's the best deal maker. I mean, yeah. I mean, you're two legends of the game with TJ Watt there. I get what you're saying. Deal making wise, he's up there. You don't get to that exact number, 123.5 million guaranteed. Insane for a defensive end that all you got to do is get one a game out of 70 plays.
Well, yo, this is also like, if you're the Browns, just to defend it, and like, yo, make your money. Everyone knows how I feel. Make your money. I'm pro player making their money. We're just talking like on the contract. A future episode that I want to do with you is I want us to take time to put together like a best and worst contract for what the player is, who the player is, like bang for your buck.
Damn.
Right? So like, yo, Brock Purdy might still be the best contract in the NFL. Now the player, it's very skeptical. What is it going to be? But he's making punter money one more year. Like that's a fucking good. Jaden Daniels, another good contract, right?
Mm-hmm.
But then you have the Daniel Jones contracts. Like that would be the example of it. So I definitely want to do that with you.
Sure. No,
but if you're Cleveland, right? It was a fucking disaster with Deshaun Watson, right? You fucked that whole thing up. Your boy Baker leaves, who was supposed to be the savior, and talk about a second career resurgence in Tampa. They're gonna build him a statue probably.
Yeah.
Right? With all the weapons that they still have there, I think Tampa Bay's still going to be the favorite to win that division next season. If you're Cleveland, you kind of had to do it, right? Because it's so bad over there. And he's like the face of your franchise. You can't let him walk.
For sure.
So I get it if you're Cleveland why you did that. Andrew Berry, the GM, he had no choice but to make this happen. But they just traded for Kenny Pickett. Stopgap. Totally. Super Bowl champion, Kenny Pickett. Shout out to the Eagles last year. But to me, bro, Myles Garrett just never did it for me. Because with TJ Watt, when he don't play, it shows.
Yes.
When he plays, it shows.
Yeah.
Like TJ Watt is never a non-factor. Like Myles Garrett, more times than not, has not shown up in comparison to TJ Watt. So I think, you know who got to be devastated? Cowboys fans. Because Micah Parsons looking at this like, come on, bro. I'm a hybrid. I'm tackling guys 30 yards downfield. I'm fucking doing all this shit, standing up, hand in the ground. And this is what happens when one guy sets the new market, the other guys are looking and they're like, yo, what the fuck? What about me?
Yep.
So I know you disagree. I like that you disagree, but I think he's the most overrated player in the league. Him and the other guy is Joey Bosa.
Which, if I'm reading this correctly, the 49ers are one of the teams. It's the 49ers and the Dolphins. This just came out 4 minutes ago that are making them offers. Can you imagine the 49ers with both Bosa brothers coming from either side?
Yeah, and also for the right money, right?
Yeah.
Like he was going to make $29 million this year. And I just don't think he's that kind of player.
No, I'm with you on that. Myles Garrett, though, is in a completely different category.
I'm not making the comparison, but I know I called both of them overrated, but I'm saying
for sure.
That's the thing. Like I was explaining this to one of my friends over the weekend because he's not like the biggest football fan, but when Devontae Adams got released, he was like, yo, bro, I know of this name, right? You know, he plays fantasy football, but he's like a casual NFL fan. He's like, dude, is he bad? I was like, no, he's not bad. But he was going to be $33 million on the books. So they release him. A lot of guys that get released, we've talked about this all the time. It's not that they're bad. It's that the team can't deal with that contract hit right now.
Mm-hmm.
And they have other holes on the team. That's why when you do pay players the big money, they have to deliver.
Mm-hmm.
They have to look at the Eagles. Last year, all the guys that they paid big money against the salary cap, they all delivered, which is why they went on to win. And then you look at other teams where those guys did not deliver and it's holding them back. It's a bad contract.
Right.
And that's why guys like Devontae Adams, I still think he has a lot left in the tank, like I mentioned before. And there's a lot of players like Joey Bosa, if they sign him for like 1 year, 12 million prove it deal, fuck yeah, I'll take that. 12 million and 29 million, way different.
Right.
So that's what I hope people understand when they hear me say shit like this.
Yeah, no, I get what you're saying. And the term overrated, definitely, we got to come out with like one other term that kind of separates the two. Because I definitely feel it with Joey Bosa. But with Myles Garrett, maybe he's just like a mid-rated. Maybe he's right in the middle. I don't know.
Properly rated? Would you say that? So you have overrated, properly rated, underrated.
Yes. Okay, properly rated.
Because everyone's always like overrated or underrated. It's like, well, sometimes like where we have him, it's justified.
Yeah.
Justin Jefferson, #1 receiver in the league, properly rated.
It's kind of like they are who we thought they were.
Yeah.
He is who we thought he is.
Yeah.
Period.
Where he is and viewed in the league, perfect.
Excellent.
Yeah. So,
right.
Yeah.
We'll keep that in mind moving forward.
Yeah. I wanted to mention one thing that we didn't have on this list, and it kind of ties into what I was just saying now about the new guys setting the market. A lot of rookie cornerbacks are at the end of their contract, and you just had J.C. Horn with the Panthers get a 4-year, $100 million deal. He just made the Pro Bowl last year in his 4th year. If you're the Jets, if you're the Chiefs, who's the other corner on Houston? Who's the corner on Houston that's really good? Singletary. No.
Stingley.
Stingley. Yes, Stingley.
Derek Stingley.
Another guy, right? So like those 3 guys, they're looking at this like,
get ready. It's my time.
I want to get paid.
Yes.
So this is what happens. And if you're these teams, you're like, fuck. Now, it goes back to the issue that I have with the Bengals. What the fuck are they doing? Because if you look at what the Bengals could have done if they signed these players when they should have, they'd be able to keep all these guys. So if they signed T. Higgins at the start of last year, they'd be able to. If they signed Jamar Chase earlier, like when CeeDee Lamb got paid, well, you might be paying him $30 million. Now he wants 40, right? Sam Hubbard's, Hendrickson, Gesicki just got $8 million a year. Like, come on, bro.
Right.
Like, what are we doing? How are we not taking care of the top dogs first? And then we take out everything else. And if you're Joe Burrow, those are reports saying that he's very upset with the Bengals organization. Yeah, fuck yeah, he is.
So one person you don't want to piss off. I mean, come on now. It's simple math. I think the Eagles have laid it out perfectly. You just have to delay all these contracts with all these players, pay them all eventually. The money's going to go up. So be like the Saints and just be negative in the cap. Maybe not as negative as the Saints, but hover around close to the number. You'll be fine. You will be fine. But yeah, the hesitation's nuts.
And think about this, right? Trey Hendrickson, the only bright spot on their defense, coming off a 17 and a half sack season.
Was he the leader?
It led the NFL.
Yeah.
Yeah. And he's looking at Myles Garrett like, oh,
that's what I get paid.
okay. Cincinnati, you're historically cheap.
Right.
So I'm out. They told him that he can seek a new deal or pursue a trade because he wants a new deal. And they're like, yo, we don't know if we can keep you. What do they do with a guy like Jamar Chase? What do they do with T. Higgins? Ultimately, I think they bring back Jamar Chase. But like, yo, if you're Burrow and you lose both those wide receivers,
I said a year out. It's not worth playing. Fake an injury. It would be, yeah, come on now. It's not worth it to have the year where they're like, oh, he could do it with anybody. Fuck that. It's crazy because, that's what we hype Tom Brady up about doing. And then he gets the one superstar and then, or Randy Moss shows up to town and everyone's like, oh, shit. But I mean, yeah, Joe, don't ever do that to yourself. And I think the Bengals know it. They know it. So what's going on? It's just, I think there's just so many old owners in the NFL. And then once they start dying, they'll start doing what the Commanders did. Maybe the Bears aren't it. Virginia was 102, Virginia McCaskey, and she dies. Maybe it's a new, I know she wasn't making decisions, but plays a factor.
There's something about that with the old owner, new owner syndrome too. Like you see it a lot in like the NBA where the people that bought the Suns, they wanted to have a fire sale because they're like, we didn't want to inherit all these contracts that are on the team. Like, why do we got to inherit that? We don't want to pay all these guys all this money. But I told you what the Bengals need to do, bro, to be able to keep everyone on the books. They need to get T. Higgins and Jamar Chase to start a podcast. They need to pay the media company of them.
Call Prize Picks.
Yeah, call one of these betting sponsors. Bengals, for real. You want to keep T. Higgins and Jamar Chase, this is what you do, all right? And all I would want is a couple signed jerseys made out to George and myself in the show.
Yep.
And we could give one away on Patreon, patreon.com/veteransminimum. But this is what you do if you're Cincinnati. You tell T. Higgins and Jamar Chase, they start a podcast, right? They have access to all these big name players in the NFL. You get one of these sponsors, be like, yo, you're going to give them the Travis Kelce and Jason Kelce deal. They're going to sign for $100 million. And then we're going to sign all these guys to $20 million a year contracts. But they'll be making $20 million a year off the podcast. Bam, there's your $40 million a year for T. Higgins and Jamar Chase. You keep everybody happy. I don't know what you call it. You can't call it the roommates. That's what Brunson and Josh Hart have as a podcast.
Right.
Shout out to the Knicks. But that's what you do if you're Cincinnati. And this way, you're a historically cheap franchise. You start a media company, pay the media company. It's off the books.
Dude.
Did I just save the Bengals?
Okay. All right. So I'll act like Mike Brown, who's the Bengals owner and president. Okay. I'm 89 years old. I want you to know this. I'm just like an old white guy.
Okay.
You just gave me that picture. What happened to AM radio? That's what he would say, bro. And that's the issue. And then Joey B's trying to go in there fucking iced out. And same with Jamar. He's like, I really like Deshaun Watson. And I wish I would have been able to pay him that type of money and shit like that. And yeah. Just an old head that just doesn't get it. Mike Brown, his Wikipedia pictures from 2012. He doesn't look bad, but that was in 2012. So, yeah, time's up. Time's up with him. He's got to move on if the Bengals want to win a title.
It's just, like Burrow, what doesn't happen often in the NFL? Like if this was the NBA, Burrow's demanding a trade.
100%.
But it don't happen in the NFL. Like in their absolute prime,
right?
The star athlete in the NBA, the star player, he could has a lot of pull. And the NFL, it's not like that. A lot of that has to do with the guaranteed contracts. But for quarterbacks, majority of it is guaranteed. If this was the NBA, bro, Burrow's like, yo, I'm doing the James Harden thing. I'm going to put on 30 pounds. I'm going to show up like a fat slob to training camp, and I'm not going to play. I'm going to piss away my performance until I get traded to where I want to go. And then he's going to go on the TB12 method, and out of nowhere, he's going to be shredded avocado toast for breakfast.
Yep.
And fucking smoothies and shakes. And that's what happens if Joe Burrow is an NBA player. In the NFL, it's not like that. And that's what Joe Burrow should do. It's crazy, bro. We throw the term generational talent around a lot, but this guy is a top 3 quarterback in the NFL, and his team has done a disservice for him. And if you don't think so, just look at this past season. Mm-hmm. Fucking better numbers than Allen and Lamar Jackson. His team went 9-8.
Yeah.
Because his team was giving up. He lost more games in which he scored 33 or more points than Tom Brady did his whole career in this one season that just passed us. In Tom Brady's entire career, he lost less games where he scored 33 points or more than Joe Burrow did this season. That's what Joe Burrow has to deal with in Cincinnati.
Yeah.
It's rough, man. It's rough.
It is.
And they're not going to be able to do much about it because they can't pay all these guys. So for me, I know we didn't really touch on the free agency with them. It's more like they didn't sign anyone crazy. They just re-signed a couple guys, but they didn't re-sign the right guys. And I'm just, what the fuck are they doing, bro?
They're sitting on their hands. It's bad. NFL does a really good job of separating people. Like in the NBA, where everybody like formed together for like just players first, association second. It hasn't happened in the NFL. And when it has happened, the small test case with Le'Veon Bell, it's just the ridicule that they're able to put on those type of player first conversations. It's wild, truly. There are a couple other free agent things that I want to definitely talk about here.
Sure, give us another one. What else you like?
DK Metcalf to the Steelers. I think this is the one that has everybody in the world fired up right now. And there was a lot of quarterback movement, but I feel out of non-quarterbacks, this was a bigger move than Adams going to the Rams. I think it made more waves. He's getting $150 million. So now he's the 5th highest paid wideout in the game, which means, Nick, all those people that were fucking calling you out when you said DK Metcalf, top 5 wide receiver in the league, he is now.
He's being paid like one.
Yes.
Yeah. He's being paid like one. And look, bro, I'll tell you this much. And it seems like I've predicted a couple of things, right? I said DK Metcalf should ask for a trade. Then he asked for a trade. I said Devontae Adams to the Rams. I know this is being rumored, but do you know who's a big winner in all this? Whoever becomes the quarterback for the Pittsburgh Steelers. Because I think you have that defense.
Yep.
You have an offensive line that I think is only going to improve. And you're also going to have Pickens. You're going to have, I'm blanking on the tight end, Freiermuth.
Mm-hmm.
You're going to have now DK Metcalf. This is a prime Aaron Rodgers location. And I know he's heavily rumored to sign either with the Giants or the Steelers. He should go to Pittsburgh because you can't have no fuckery with the Steelers.
Yeah.
He's not going to go in there and have Tomlin get fired or force the Steelers to fire. They're going to be like, suck my balls, bro. He's been here 20 years. He's our guy.
It's the military school of the boarding school of the NFL is going to the Steelers. It used to be the Patriots. Now it's the Steelers.
He needs to go to an organization where like the Giants would be a terrible idea.
Oh,
now,
no.
For the money, it'd be dope. You know,
Correct.
you sign Aaron Rodgers for 15, 20 million. I'm in. But Schoen on the hot seat, Dable on the hot seat, he might do everything he did with the Jets with the Giants. But I would take it for the dollar amount. Now, for the actual football play scenario, Pittsburgh is a home run.
Right.
Because they're kind of quarterback-ish away, which is why they tried the Russell Wilson thing. But they have the infrastructure there that could deal with the fuckery Aaron Rodgers brings to the table. Because like I said, Tomlin's going to be like, bro, yo, A-Rod, this shit isn't going to work. I'm not Robert Saleh, no disrespect.
Right.
You ain't doing all the shit you want to do. And you have Pickens, you have DK Metcalf, you got Freiermuth. I know they just lost Najee Harris, but Pittsburgh always loses running backs. I think Aaron Rodgers to Pittsburgh makes a lot of sense.
Yeah. It'll be interesting to see if he can make Arthur Smith like the offensive coordinator that everyone's painted him out to be. I think he's one of the most fucking overrated coordinators in the league. And I know we always mention Tomlin when we say the Steelers, but I couldn't help but think some of the times and play calls this year that I saw from them, I was shocked. So I would love to see A-Rod there. Maybe prove this dude's career correct and make me look like the asshole, but I don't know. It's just, even when Big Ben played there, bro, it's just, man, I can't remember the ball getting slung around the field and the black and yellow. Like, it's far and few between. There's the Antonio Brown highlights, and aside from that, like, I have to think back to my early childhood with like Hines Ward and shit, but it's just notoriously known for not that. Good football team, but primarily built around the run.
Yeah, I'd say yes and no. Like, they had a couple years with like Emmanuel Sanders.
Mm-hmm.
They had obviously Antonio Brown, Juju Smith-Schuster when he got there. Remember Martavius Bryant was supposed to be like the game wrecker, and he
Right.
was. He just would always have like the issues with the off the field stuff that kept him off the field. Pittsburgh sort of became a passing team as like Ben got older. But yeah, the identity of the Steelers,
It's just,
it's
yeah.
run, right? And I think
Correct.
with Warren in the backfield, they'll probably draft a running back and he'll just be solid because Pittsburgh, what they do is like, you knew Najee Harris wasn't going to re-sign with them. This is what the Steelers do. They draft a running back, they run him into the ground, good or bad. Good luck on your future endeavors. Go to LA with the Chargers.
Yeah.
Go to the Jets if you're Le'Veon Bell. So this is what they do. But I think, Aaron Rodgers going over there, he just needs someone that he can't tell them what to do.
Mm.
You're not going to do that with Tomlin.
Yeah.
Like I said, it's not Robert Saleh. It's not Brian Dable. It's not an early Matt LaFleur where you're there for 15 years and LaFleur comes in and he's a first-time head coach. It's like, nah, bro, I'm the adult in the room.
Yeah.
And I think this is a ideal scenario for 1 year, right?
Mhm.
Maybe they draft a Shador Sanders or they draft a Dart or whoever, any young quarterback. And you're like, yo, A-Rod for a year. Look, this is the best defense you've had in how long? Ever, maybe?
Right.
I like this. If Aaron Rodgers could go there, bro, I'm telling you, this could be something good. And I know I said this about the Jets last year, right? They were my Super Bowl pick. Terrible call. It's different because of who the coach is. And I did say the biggest red flag for me is like, can I really envision Robert Saleh holding up a Super Bowl trophy?
Yep.
And that was the thing that I thought was going to hold them back the most. He can't alpha Tomlin. And for 1 year,
Yeah.
and Tomlin's probably like, yo, bro, look at the quarterbacks I've had to deal with the last decade. Mason Rudolph, Duck Hodges, Big Ben on his last
Bro,
win.
Knowing Tomlin and like, because coaches, and this is a true fact, as they get older, they get softer. They start letting little character shit slide. Let's not forget Tomlin's kind of, molded the worst of the worst, character-wise, some would say. Do you think he would kiss the ring? I do think there's like a little bit to him that he would let him get away with way more shit than other people.
No, I disagree, man. I think Tomlin is in like a weird spot where I don't want to say he's on the hot seat, but another like first round bounce in the playoffs where you have absolutely no chance at winning.
Yeah.
Which has been like the last 5 playoff games. They've all been like 8-point underdogs or more. I think the seat is not even warm. It's like you just turned on the heated seats in the car.
Right.
It's like that. Like you just turned it on. And I think Aaron Rodgers, this would be the perfect Aaron Rodgers team.
He'd push the buttons. It would be good. It would be good. I can't wait to see. I mean, if we would get another AFC North in season to see the inner workings, that would be perfect. But fuck. What division, do they announce what division they're doing yet for this next year?
Oh, I'm not sure. No.
That'd be interesting. Because that one was the most informative Hard Knocks. Way more informative than the preseason. In the middle of the season, the division, oh my God. You get the true nuts and bolts of like why the Steelers were so good last year.
Nah, totally, man. It was super dope. I actually watched it after the season ended. It made a lot more sense.
Yep.
And it was sick. It was sick. I want to talk about another quarterback. Sam Darnold goes to the Seattle Seahawks. What are your thoughts?
Have fun with Tyler Lockett. Jackson's JSN, pretty legit.
I think they're cutting Tyler Lockett, bro.
I said his name just because it's so consistent, but I figured, he's probably what now, 45 years old? He's been doing the same thing, just being a steady producer out there in Seattle. So if they are cutting him, that sucks. Another steady person on the market that everybody should look into. I don't think he's going to look great in a Seahawks uniform, especially like the lime green. Lime green, seeing Sam Darnold's red head and the lime green unis could possibly be the worst combination ever. So I hope they don't put him in that position. Do I think he'll be good? He's got a lot of shit to prove people wrong about how he finished off this season last year. So he seems to play well motivated, because that's how he came into this year, was everybody's saying you see ghosts, bro. And then he goes on to win 14 games, literally coming a game away from being the number one seed. And this could be a whole different conversation. He may never even leave. Seattle's a tough place to live too. So I don't know. I'm not a big fan of this move. Maybe it might not be as depressing for him moving there, because he is redhead. The Irish, they're used to in Ireland cloudy days, and that's why they have the pale skin. So maybe it might not affect him as much as other people. But how do you feel about it?
I am happy that he signed a deal that's going to make him over $100 million. I think he's going to get exposed.
Oh man, I'm trying to hype him up a little bit with the, he ended like shit, so maybe prove us wrong.
No, I don't even think. I think it's just he just played terrible in 8 days. Right?
Yes.
Like that was probably the worst 8-day stretch any quarterback has ever had in their life, because you're looking at, if he won that game against the Lions, or even if he played, let's just say he played well and they lost. If he played well in those games, he's probably staying in Minnesota, signing a 5-year extension for $200 million plus dollars.
Mm-hmm.
And now he signs 3 years for $100 million. The positive is that he reunites with Clint Kubiak, who was the 49ers passing game coordinator when he was the backup when they went to the Super Bowl with Brock Purdy. So he's familiar with the system-ish.
Mm-hmm.
What have I been saying about Sam Darnold, why he should stay in Minnesota?
Kevin O'Connell,
Justin Jefferson, Hawkinson, Aaron Jones, Addison. You're leaving that. You're going to the outdoors in the Pacific Northwest, which we went to not that long ago, 2 weeks ago.
Yeah.
It was cloudy and muggy the entire time we were there.
Yep.
All right. And you're outdoors. And now you lose DK Metcalf. You lose Tyler Lockett. You have JSN, who there was a part of me that was like, yo, you're a 3 wide receiver. This is when they take the boom. And he still might, because there's nothing around him. They'll probably address the wide receiver position, I would say, in the draft, or maybe in free agency. They have to.
Yeah.
But I just think that he's going to get exposed, because you're leaving somewhere where you know what you're going to get and what you have around you. I would have stayed in Minnesota. Minnesota also invested a first-round pick in McCarthy, and that's who's going to be the quarterback of the team moving forward. I'm always skeptical when a team like just allows someone to leave that they have in-house. It's the same way I felt about the Niners with Debo. Like, yeah, good, bro. Good luck. Thank you for your time. Cool. Thanks for the letter and the boom boxes.
Right.
But he should have stayed. He should have stayed over there, because I think it's going to be him getting exposed, because the talent around him is just not the same.
Yeah. No, bro. Jake Bobo, Dariki Young, Noah Fant. all household names that he's going to be thrown to one day. Maybe Sam Darnold makes these guys. Jake Bobo a household name. Great last name. He had a decent year last year too. He was definitely a sleeper in fantasy that people were happy with. But wow, yeah. The Seahawks to me were a team that was like on the slight ascension. Like they weren't too bad last year. I felt like maybe another year, the division's in disarray a bit with the 49ers being shit and the Rams starting off super slow. But now this is it's going to be a true crapshoot. What is their win total going to be set at?
Niners?
No,
the Seahawks.
Seahawks.
I'd say 8.5.
Yeah. I'm going to say 7.5. I think they'll see the roster and be thinking the same exact thing we're thinking.
Yeah. No, totally, man. Totally.
Justin Fields to the Jets. Yeah? Or
For the money, I like it. Still a young guy. Was a former first-round pick. Had the Steelers, 3-1, 4-1 when he got benched. And it's fine. I don't really, he reunites with Garrett Wilson. They played together at Ohio State. I think that could be something where they'll have that chemistry. It's something. I'd rather that if you're the Jets and you're a Jets fan than them bringing in like a Kirk Cousins.
yes.
Right? At least take a stab on a young
Yes.
guy, lock him in for 2 years, and then maybe see. Because he's still young. If I'm not mistaken, Justin Fields, I want to say he's 26. Yeah, 26. He just turned 26. His birthday was last week. So, yeah, man. And look, I think he'll be an exciting player for them because he could run also. It's something that the Jets haven't had at quarterback in a very long time. And maybe him being a starter, supposed to be the franchise saver in Chicago, leaving, going to Pittsburgh, getting benched. Maybe it's like the Baker Mayfield thing, like a fresh start. And I know the Jets isn't exactly, the most promising landing spot, but I like it. How do you feel about it?
I'm more than thrilled. It's such a shift in visual perception of like what a team is able to do when you go from a quarterback like A-Rod coming off of an Achilles to then you're going to witness Justin Fields 6 times next year do things that you're like, holy shit, wow, I'm glad that we took this into account when, picking a quarterback. I'm happy for him. It's the same thing I was saying with Sam Darnold with now the motivation added to it. I would like to see the Jets do good. And I know we're going to have a future segment on like teams that I wish would be good to benefit
The league.
The league. The Jets are one of them. And maybe this is the spark that people weren't expecting. Definitely not going to have to. I mean, anybody after what Aaron Rodgers put them through, like you're good. You could literally get away with a lot.
And, he's getting paid basically like a backup.
Mm-hmm.
Right? Look, all these quarterbacks are getting $50 million a year. He's making 20.
Yeah.
Bets on himself. Maybe he ends up signing a Baker Mayfield contract after. It's kind of, it's awfully reminiscent of the two.
Yeah.
Right? Like he had some flashes in Chicago, and then they went and they drafted Caleb Williams, which I just want to mention. It wasn't on the agenda for us, but I just love what Chicago's doing. I want to just highlight that because Ryan Poles, the GM, this offseason, I think so far he's hit home runs. He's signing 3 offensive linemen. Signed the center, Rams guard Jonah Jackson, and they stole Joe Thuney from the Chiefs.
Wow.
What do I say? Find a quarterback, protect them, go after theirs.
Yep.
I like it. I like a lot of the pieces on Chicago. And not for nothing, bro. Caleb Williams, if you look at just like the box score and the numbers very comparable to Jaden Daniels and Bo Nix, but one is labeled a bust. Not bust, but you know, like in comparison to what the other guys did,
Correct.
it's like, oh, they got the worst of the first round. Oh, I don't know. Let's just chill. Give us some time.
Yeah. It's a best of 7 series.
Yeah. Give us some time.
For sure.
They lost game 1.
Yeah.
At home.
That's what we're saying. That's all we're saying with these
Just give it
quarterbacks'
some time.
careers. It's game 1.
Yeah.
It's a best of 7.
Yeah, just give it some time. But I like what Chicago's doing. I just wanted to highlight that. Maybe we'll spend some more time because, remember, free agency is just starting now.
Yeah.
But I want to mention one more NFL topic, then we'll go into some NBA talking points. Geno Smith to the Raiders. Thoughts?
That'll be a fun experiment. Geno, he's gonna look good in the black and silver. I always like it when a coach goes back for their quarterback. I think there's a good rapport and relationship there. I don't know. I don't think Geno Smith doesn't like paint me as a guy that's going to be seen in any of the Las Vegas nightlife. Like he'll be able to keep his ducks in a row. He's later in his career. Fuck it. You know, maybe I need to know now from the Raiders is like, are we developing Aiden O'Connell, or like what's the game plan? Are we going to still draft another quarterback? Which I definitely think if there's one that's available that you like, that's what you do. And you go Geno for a year and Geno's the leader. So how did you feel about this one?
I think this is the best quarterback they've had since Derek Carr, John Gruden leaving, and Bisaccia comes in. Remember when Bisaccia came in?
Yeah, I know. Derek Carr was going off that year, but I'm trying to think because I would even say that. Yeah.
He's stable.
That's properly rated.
Properly rated, right? He's not a top 10 quarterback, but he's not a bottom 10 quarterback. I think he's somewhere between, like off the top of my head, 13 to 18 is where I would put Geno Smith. He'll bring you some stability. He plays. He don't miss time. Like you said, to your point, there's never any controversy around him. He's an adult, right?
Mm-hmm.
And he reunites with Pete Carroll. I think what the Raiders are doing, if you look at Geno Smith and then you look at what they're doing with the head coach, I think they're just trying to build a culture and then for the next guy to come in and inherit it.
Right.
I like the move. The only downside, I think in your division, you have the worst quarterback. And I don't even think it's debatable.
Yeah. Agreed. That's why I said you have to draft one. You have to be proactive this year in the draft, and you have to utilize his veteran leadership, which is what I think people do.
All the quarterbacks, the more, because I've been diving into this topic and doing a lot of reading on the quarterbacks and watching a lot of footage on all of them. I like what a lot of them bring to the table. I think all of them should sit with year one. Every single quarterback in this draft should sit year one.
Mm-hmm.
Go to a team that needs a quarterback, but has someone in place that can like weather the storm. Like, bro, whoever the Giants take at quarterback, right now they have no one on the roster.
They re-signed DeVito, I think.
The guy that set the franchise back a decade.
All I'm saying is they kept him for the fucking culture, bro. And they were selling the Italian season tickets, and you cannot lose that. But yeah, he re-signed. But I get what you're saying. Who is going to be the quarterback next year?
I hate hearing that name, bro.
I know it.
And I hate the fucking loser Giant fans that were excited that they won a Monday Night Football game against the Packers because they were like 0-11 on prime time during that like tenure post Eli Manning. Yeah, just fucking awful. Because what's going to happen is you're going to reach for a quarterback that you're not really in love with.
Mm-hmm.
And again, it's a crapshoot. It's a roll of a dice. You don't know. But with Geno Smith and the Raiders, he's the worst of the bunch in the division. Justin Herbert, regular season at least, you're
right.
happy with. You got your boy Bo Nix, and then obviously you got Mahomes. So for me, I think the Raiders should also draft a quarterback. He sits. You don't got to rush him. And you just deal with Geno Smith for a year or two.
Yeah. Yeah. And then hopefully shock the Chiefs a couple of times. That rivalry will still be built up there. But we'll see, man. It'll be nice to finally go to a Raider game and not have to literally witness just trash. And I loved Gardner Minshew, but seeing him play for the Raiders ruined that for me. And then same with Aiden O'Connell. It's not any better. Are there any other free agent pieces you want to bring up?
No, nothing on my end. How about you? We'll see what happens the rest of the week.
Yeah. I feel like we got a majority of the good ones.
Let us know what you guys think about all these moves. There's going to be a lot. These are like the first major announcements for, not announcements, announcements that everyone is signing with the deal. And we'll just be updating everything as we go. Patreon.com/veterans minimum. Shout out to Arabia, Mahul Patel, Thomas, Abel, Ben, Christopher, Derek, Devin, Dylan, Jerry, Jordan, Mike, Nicholas, and Nick. Members of the Patreon. Patreon.com/veterans minimum. $1 American is all we're asking for a month. $5 a month. You get access to the Discord. You get access to the betting plays. George, I'll be honest, I got crushed in the UFC over the weekend. I didn't post anything, which was nice. So I saved people some money.
Nice.
That was good.
I got the message on Discord pretty late on Saturday saying, hey, I haven't put anything in yet.
Yeah. I sent a couple screenshots of like the tickets. They all lost, but there was an 8-1 submission prop that I hit, but it still didn't do enough for everything that I lost in person in HD when I was at T-Mobile. But patreon.com/veterans minimum. George, there's a couple things in sort of the basketball world I definitely want to have a fun conversation on.
Yeah.
And it is what happened over the weekend with Stephen A. Smith and LeBron James. Did you happen to see what happened?
I did.
Okay. Do you want to tell the people what went down?
So I don't remember. Was this in the fourth quarter?
I don't remember when it was in the game, but LeBron confronts our boy Stephen A., friend of the podcast.
Correct. On the sideline, he walks up to him. LeBron is obviously and Stephen A. Smith's a tall guy, but LeBron is definitely clearly looking down at him. And he tells Stephen A. Smith to stop talking poorly about his son. And was there any other? I don't have the direct quote. The video that I saw was just of, there was no audio. It was kind of from far away. But Stephen A. came out and he addressed it, and he pretty much summarized it as that. Stop talking bad about my kid. How do you feel about our boy Stephen A. Smith getting confronted?
I just think it's such a unique circumstance where we've never had this for analyst/reporter with an active player and his son playing with him.
Right.
Now, the only time I can remember is, and I don't even remember it, but Griffey and his son.
Right.
There was obviously no social media. Ken Griffey was a fucking stud in comparison to what Bronny is and where Ken Griffey Jr. was at the time when he came into the league. Ken Griffey Jr. was like a shoe-in prospect, right? People were cooking us when we didn't mention Ken Griffey Jr. for Seattle when we did the name synonymous with cities. So I just think it's a really unique, never before seen circumstance. I'm not a parent, so I'll just defer to what all my friends say that have kids. Like when you have kids, your life obviously changes and you care about something more than yourself for the first time, probably ever. And it's just something that we've never seen before. And when you're in the sports reporting and sports media space, you have to give opinions on things. And I think there's ways where you can give opinions and not be hypercritical of someone, and you could be respectful with it. Like if you just say, hey man, you didn't play well in that game, we can have statistical evidence to show that you shot 4 of 27 from the field. Yeah. Now, if I'm like, yo, you're a piece of shit because you're out at the nightclubs and you're doing all that, now it's like I'm attacking you personal. Or if I'm like, your lady is a bad influence to you, or like, you know, this person in your life, it's like, well, now you're attacking me personally. Right. I feel like I've always done a good job in this space of just kind of calling it how I see it as far as like the performance. But we don't really attack people on a personal level. It's never been my thing. And I never wanted to be that person to like clickbaity shit. Like I'm not into that at all. Yeah. And I think what we're seeing with the LeBron thing is something we've never seen before. We've never had an active player playing with his son, or even having their kid in the league with them at the same time, confront the first face on the Mount Rushmore of sports media right now. So that's how I feel about this topic.
Yeah, and I'll just add this into it now. because I think this is also LeBron not making a rational choice in the midst of competition, which is a whole nother thing. Like, I think LeBron at the end of a night sitting on the couch drinking some wine is not doing that. Like, that conversation is way different. But LeBron is, you know, I'm if I'm not mistaken, it was the fourth quarter. It was later into the game, and he makes this confrontation with him, and it's like he's going. Like, LeBron's in game mode. So when you're in game mode, you have that, like, you know, fatherly instinct. Now, what I will say is, this is you can't hate that Bronny is the most famous second round draft pick ever, good or bad. Stop hating it. Okay. This is textbook from Donald J. Trump himself. You know, good press, bad press, it doesn't matter. They're talking about you. It's good. Bronny's going to end up making a fuck ton of money, not just from your name, but
I think he's like top 10 in jersey sales.
Right. I mean, I want a Bronny jersey.
Yeah.
Second round draft pick. And there's so many other players that are drafted before him that nobody else is talking about, because that's just how the NBA works.
Bro, not just the NBA. That's how life is.
Mm-hmm.
Some fucking
your
kid,
stripes.
but also, look, bro, I hope one day I get successful enough that if my kid is not a fucking moron and like he's a little bit qualified, I'm going to hand over my business to them. Now, if they're a fucking moron, not going to do it.
Right.
If they have a little bit of talent and they show a little bit of compassion and they're actually good at something, bro, everybody's kid ends up inheriting the family business. I would have if the podcast stuff didn't work out. I was going to take the coffee truck over. Now, my dad's not LeBron James. Love my pops. Shout out to Tony. But
LeBron James of bacon, egg, and cheese.
LeBron James of bacon, egg, and cheese, without a doubt, first ballot Hall of Famer. But bro, every family, Jerry Jones with his family, the Lakers with their family, just everybody, they inherit the family business.
Correct.
So who gives a fuck if his dad helped him get in the league? That's dope. We've just never seen this happen before.
Correct. And is he not as good as we thought he is? He's doing something that's like almost unheard of, impossible.
Yeah.
The jumping from the G League to now this. So, but regardless, this is just back to him confronting him. Do you think, and this is just, it's stupid to even say it, but since the ratings have been so bad with basketball, is ESPN throwing the bag at LeBron to say, hey, start some shit with Stephen A, you know, about your son? It's something that's playful. Do you think LeBron truly cares what everybody's saying right now? Probably does. Like, do you think LeBron honestly is bothered that people are talking bad about his son?
I think the father in him is. Like, I don't think the basketball player LeBron is, but I think that's, like, even Stephen A said, the father confronted me, not the basketball player.
I get it, but it's a valid criticism.
For sure. And that's why I think, I don't know who to side with, because we just haven't seen this before.
Yeah, I think father-son relationship or not, criticism is criticism. And you are literally in the conversation with one of the greatest athletes of all time. You've gone through a lot of criticism in your day. This bothers you? That Stephen A. Smith, arguably the you of the sports media world. That's why I'm like, bro, I don't know. This is just, it just seems kind of fucking staged. Everybody's just wanting to punch each other these days.
Which brings me to the next thing. I'm glad you brought that up. And staying with the Lakers.
Yeah.
Charles Barkley and Kendrick Perkins get into it. And basically, if you guys missed this, it was, you know, also it's Stephen A, right? And I love Stephen A. Like I've said, if he runs for office, I'm going to vote for him. Argue with yourselves. If you guys are podcasters, you've never had a president-elect on your show, potentially. So just putting it out there now, it'll be the first time I cast my vote for Stephen A. Smith, friend of this show. He sat in this chair while I sat in that chair, right? But Stephen A. last week goes on First Take and he goes, why why aren't we talking about Juju Watkins, who her first 2 seasons at USC has broken like every Caitlin Clark record? He's like, why aren't we talking about Juju Watkins? And I was like, what do you mean by y'all? You mean yourself? Like, why aren't you talking about Juju Watkins? Why aren't you talking about the Cavs and the Thunder, which is what Charles Barkley is saying? Like, those idiots over at ESPN who we're going to be working with next year, they're talking about the Lakers, who have had an amazing 2 weeks. They're talking about the Warriors, but why aren't they leading with the Cavs? Why aren't they leading about the Thunder? And that gets into big market versus small market. But I just find it funny whenever people on talk shows are like, why are we talking about this? I was like, who's y'all? You mean yourselves? You guys dictate conversations in the sports media space. How many times have we been on the show and we're like, bro, ESPN's list of top 10 fucking point guards or quarterbacks? It's like, you guys are the source, so don't tell us what we're not talking about. We were talking about certain topics throughout the season, like, yo, Bryce Young and the Panthers, bro, they've covered, they're playing well, and then they went on to cover 6 straight games, right? Like, yo, watch out, Bryce Young. Maybe I was early on the Panthers, right? We were talking about Saquon for fucking 9 months, and then we saw what happened. I always find it funny when people try to lecture people about what they need to be doing and talking about when you're the one in position of power to be able to dictate the conversation.
Yeah.
So I was just confused as to
what's going on.
Who are you talking about when you say y'all aren't talking about, we're not talking about? Of course, you're not. If you're not talking about it, we won't talk about it. And what happens is when you're on network TV, they tell you what to discuss because of the algorithm and the trending topics.
Mm-hmm.
And no disrespect to the Thunder. They're having an amazing season. They have the league MVP and SGA. But it doesn't move the needle like a Lakers, Celtics, and Knicks do, right? When those teams are doing well, Knicks for clicks is like a real thing on social media, like trending topics. And that's what you're seeing here. I just found it really funny. And then, last thing, and George, my bad, bro. I know I've been going long-winded now on this one. Going back to a couple weeks ago, did you see what happened with the 2 NFL reporters at the Combine? Jordan Schultz and Ian Rappaport?
Yeah, it was something at a Starbucks.
They were at
another people wanted just to fight, dude.
Yeah, they were. Yeah, what's good with all you guys wanting to fight now? Everyone's like, it's on site. It's on site. If I see you, it's going to be a fucking problem. People only say that to people that they know that aren't going to do nothing.
Facts.
You ain't doing that to like Daniel Cormier, or you ain't doing that to, you ain't stepping to a Joe Rogan of the world, because you know there's going to be consequences when you actually know that that person could do some shit to you.
Yeah.
It happens all the time, bro. People bully people they know they could bully. That's why I kind of like the way I look. I don't have, when we went to get dinner, all my friends from New York are like, bro, all of them look like fighters. You don't. And I was like, I kind of like it.
Body
like it.
Bro.
Yeah. You talk crazy to me. Sometimes I'm like, yo, you have no idea what I could fucking do to you. You better fucking tone down.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm very passive. I'm very happy. When I drink, I'm a very happy guy. I'm even happier. Another thing, I was talking with Jory the other night. We were talking about that. I'm like, yo, I'm a happy drunk. And to tie it all into this, apparently things like escalated really quickly. Schultz said, we need to talk. Rappaport said, no, we don't. And then Schultz starts accusing Rappaport of something, gets in his face, and is like, if you have anything to say to me, say it to my fucking face. If this continues, we're going to have a fucking problem. If this happens again, we're going to have a fucking problem. Now I'll step back.
This is all over sources. Like, yeah. he didn't source them as his.
And I get it with the sources, because I told you off the record, I'm not going to name any names, but we had someone on the show that we gave out the Barkley pick, and then they claimed them for themselves and was like taking victory laps and like didn't shout us out once. I felt the type of way. Didn't air it out on social media. This is the first time I'm discussing it. I'm still not saying any names, but like, kind of it is what it is. But this stuff is all hilarious to me. As someone that understands the dangers of what fighting could really be and do.
Right.
This whole like, yo, it's on site, keep the same energy with me. Like, what are you gonna do?
Yeah. Well,
I can't wait to be like a fucking black belt and be on like a ESPN one day and someone talks crazy to me, like keep the same energy. I'll show up wherever we'll be, like covering a game, and I'll just be by myself and be like, yo, what's good, bro? You guys feeling all right? Who hurt you?
Bro.
Who hurt you?
Okay.
Always the people, the people, truthfully. I know I've been talking for like the last 10 minutes. Just from my experience, and there are assholes that train martial arts, without a doubt.
Correct.
The people that don't talk the guys that train martial arts usually don't start fights with people. You know why? Because they get humbled every day and they understand the dangers of, do you really want to do this? My friend Jared Gordon, shouts to Jared. One time we were out and the guy wanted to pick a fight with him and he just said, hey man, you sure you want to do this? I was like, yo, that's the coldest shit I've ever heard.
It is.
Because they understand the dangers. So all these reporters talking tough and you know, the threats on it being on site, I just think it's also bullying because, you know, like you're not going to do nothing.
Right.
There's no, like, even Stephen A with LeBron. Like, what was LeBron going to do? He was going to hit him?
Right.
And then Stephen A is going to sue him for $1 gazillion. And what are you going to do? Like, this whole shit is corny to me, bro. It's really corny.
So
that's my TED Talk for the episode.
I do want to, because I know it is corny, okay? This beef, though, between Kendrick Perkins and Charles Barkley, though, I mean, those are two guys that when they go at it, after hearing what Charles Barkley had said, I felt like he wasn't saying anything that was like too damning. He called him an idiot and a fool. Like, that's not as bad as some other things that people could call you. But then Kendrick Perkins to go like straight fucking, did you see the tweet that Kendrick Perkins had back to Charles Barkley saying it's fade on sight, he's going to pull up, cited his zip code to let him know that he's standing on business or whatever? It's like, Jesus Christ. I would be afraid if Kendrick Perkins came back and clapped back at me. Am I wrong for thinking that? I mean, those two guys, like Kendrick Perkins and Charles Barkley, what should they do? Do you think that they should hype this up for an actual celebrity fight? That's what I was going to kind of spin this into. Maybe Charles Barkley, once the TNT guys are on ESPN, they can start having like Friday night fights. First ever fight of the night will be Charles Barkley versus K-Perk.
Charles Barkley is 62 years old.
Yep.
I'm cool on seeing that.
Okay.
He's older than my father.
Yeah.
He's older than Mike Tyson was against Jake Paul.
What could we do though? And this, like, cause K-Perk he crashed out. K-Perk crashed out. Why does ESPN let this shit happen?
It could be maybe for ratings. They're saying that the NBA is struggling with the ratings, and this is a way to create buzz, I guess.
Right.
Because now everyone's going to tune into, NBA Countdown or whatever show Kendrick Perkins is on to, like, The Response. Maybe.
Right.
I know it's weird that they're all going to be working together next year when the TNT guys go over to ESPN, which is what he said also. And dude, I don't know if they're ready for those personalities too. It's the same shit that happened with Pat McAfee, bro. A lot of people had animosity towards Pat McAfee because he's talking like he's at the park with his boys. Mm-hmm. They're saying fuck at 2 p.m. on a Tuesday on network television. I think it's corny when people like make threats like physically.
Yeah. No, I agree with you.
Especially when they're not legitimate. It's not. Yeah, it's not. You're just trying to act like a tough guy. And all the people that I know and from experience that are tough guys, they never initiate fights.
Yeah.
And like, what, you're gonna fight someone over sources?
Yeah. That's why I'm saying hype it up, because although we would not want to see Charles Barkley get his ass kicked by Kendrick Perkins in any sort of fighting competition, hype it up. I mean, this is a chance to make a lot of money, because I know Charles sucks at golf and he probably loses a lot on the golf course. It's a good way to recoup some of those losses. Him and K-Perk, 1-on-1.
Yo, let's just end on this. How do you feel about people wanting on site when you see that stuff with public figures? Because, you know what's going to happen, right? What's going to happen one day? Mm-hmm. They're going to say it to someone like a Meta World Peace. Or one of these guys that I've always said, Malice at the Palace. Shout out to the Pistons, 4th place right now in the East.
Right.
One of my favorite sporting events of all time. Because there's going to be someone that you're going to say it to, and it's going to be on site.
Yeah.
And then you're going to run to social media and be like, George Carmona slapped me. How dare he? Well, you said it was on site.
Right.
So just be careful who you try to test and play with. And I think people only do this because they know they could get away with it.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, think about it. Some dude said it's Aaron Hernandez. I was on site.
That was LG's for real.
Be careful.
Be careful. Yeah, yo, you
Be
got to be
careful.
careful, man. Some people do not give a fuck that they're a public figure, and they'll slap you. Nate Diaz has done it.
Yep.
Remember he slapped the dude from Full Send? So he said something?
True. Yeah, dude.
There's some people that'll be like, yo, I'll pay the $100K.
Mm-hmm.
But you're not going to talk to me that way.
Fact.
I just think that a lot of people have gotten too comfortable, and I don't like it, George.
Yeah.
I don't like it.
No, I'm ready to start seeing this fight world that we have coming up, dude. We hype up criminals these days, you know? And I think America especially is low key in the villain era. So we should expect it, dude. Maybe we should fight somebody else just to, you know, develop a little reputation. Treat it like a prison yard with some of these other podcasts. Who's number 8 on the list in front of us on Spot Feed? Because it's on site with that fucking podcast, bro. Till we get to the top. And don't think I won't go for the number.
People.
Just that's what I'll say it. I'll say it. It's on site. Number 8. Whoever the fuck you are.
Yeah, we coming after everybody, bro. Darce is on deck and single legs. That's what we're doing.
Yep.
Hey, let us know how you guys feel about the LeBron James and the Stephen A. Beef that's been going on, and just all these reporters now wanting to fight.
It's hilarious.
I think Pop Smoke once said, "Tough guys don't act tough with the tough guys." I might have butchered that. I'm pretty sure that's what he had said one time, but they act tough with the people they know they can get away with it.
It's a great lesson.
Yeah,
Great life lesson.
well, sometimes it gets really nasty, bro.
Yeah.
And then you learn a lesson the hard way. So just be careful out there, man. Some people they don't play with that shit. You know, Conor McGregor and Habib. Conor was talking all this shit on site, and then when Habib got his hands on him, he's in half guard. Let's talk now, brother.
Yeah.
And then Conor's like, yo, it's all business. Well, it's not all business for some people.
Facts.
There's certain things you can't play with. And this whole like fake tough guy shit, which is what I think all this is, I'm not for it. I understand the dangers of fighting. I see people get head kicked and elbowed in the face every single day when I go train. Just be very careful.
They'll wake back up, you hope.
Yeah.
Yeah.
All things Veterans Minimum are at Veterans Minimum. Thank you all for listening. Shout out to the fans of the program. Shout out to the guys in the control room,
Yes.
the A-team.
A-team in effect today.
Shout out to you, bro.
Well, Nick, it's your birthday, so
Thanks,
it's
man.
it's a big shout out for you. So, you know, I would sing happy birthday, but
Let's not do that to the people.
I'm serenading you, so like they wouldn't even be able to, you know, be a part of it, and it'd be weird.
Yeah, if it's just you singing me happy birthday.
Yeah,
Yeah, that'd be wild. That'd be wild. Let's not do that. Let's just end the show.
yeah, I think that's a good idea.
Peace.
Element. I'm a gold medalist, bronze like your medal is. So many deer in headlights, but it's bedtime. Hear that supper bell, main course, be the venison.
Dab. Most dangerous game. Either kill or be killed.